Hey everybody, it's Ford here with a brand new series for you called Memorable Boss Fights. In this series, I'm going to look at some of my favorite games and talk about my favorite boss fights from them and why I believe them to be memorable. In this series, we're going to look at 2 honorable mentions and then 1 boss fight I believe to be the best in the game. Small disclaimer, this is just my opinion and you're more than welcome to disagree with me. I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments. Without any further ado, the first game we'll be looking at is Furi, which you already knew because, the title, I guess. Anyway, let's go. First, let's look at the honorable mentions. The first one being the chain.
Every step you've taken from that cell, I'll make you regret. You listen to me, and you listen good. You'll never escape.
When picking bosses, I look at 4 main categories: plot relevance, build-up, gameplay, and character. The chain absolutely kills it in most of these categories. The build-up to him starts right as the game begins, and you see him abuse you in your cell. It's implied he's been doing this for a long time, and it gives you a reason to beat him. His character is intimidating between his 3-headed design and large stature, giving you a reason to fear him. His lines, while not deep, are all meant to be threatening and intimidating.
You're gonna run back to your cell and beg me to lock you up again. You're gonna take some putting back together when I'm done with you. I'm gonna kill you.
His plot relevance is quite simple. He's the first guardian, the one that watches you in your cell, and you must beat him to free yourself, and sets up the whole premise of the game. But where this boss really shines in my eyes is gameplay. He is arguably the best tutorial boss ever made. A lot of tutorial bosses struggle to either being too simple or too easy to help lure the player into the game. The chain and story mode is given 3 additional phases at the start of the fight to teach you the basic mechanics. The boss then transitions into a real full boss fight. He has many different attacks and even multiple melee attack patterns, making him a fairly dynamic first boss that forces you to learn the basics before continuing on.
You will be broken. You will go back to your cell.
And because it's her favorite boss, I'm going to let Nyla talk about the second honorable mention.
Look at the filth around you. Darkness. Look at me. Don't look so horrified. You're staring at yourself. You did this to me. Finally.
I love this guy so much and could talk at length about him, but I'll keep it short for the sake of the video. Similar to what Fortuity said about the chain, the scale is intimidating and definitely has a presence about him. He's the tallest guardian you meet due to his Big Daddy-esque suit that he wears, meaning he is constantly looming over you like a monster, and the environment around him perfectly mirrors this, being dark and gloomy as opposed to most other areas that are accompanied by brighter colors. It's very fitting due to how he fits into the story of the stranger, snarling and growling heinous words at you that at first seem like nonsense.
You soldier. So much power, but so much pain. You condemn me to this. Join creation. Your mass of fire and void shattered. Your corruption hurts.
But as you fight him, you slowly piece together what he's all about. You did something to him, something incurable, something that resulted in him being put in this suit just to stay alive. You ruined his life, and now he wants nothing more than to...
You're going to drown.
His fight is really great as well, consisting of him diving in and out of the water in a very hauntingly beautiful way, attacking you from a distance before getting right up in your face and even attempting to drown you. It's probably the first real challenge in the game. His final desperation phase especially being no joke to mess with. Like an animal, a monster if you will, he can be a bit unpredictable, which is perfect for a character like him.
Will we share his fate, or will life take an unexpected turn?
Finally, this brings us to who this video is about, my favorite boss from Furi.
You sure took your time. I was concerned you wouldn't make it this far. This is a big day for me. I've been waiting a long time for this moment. Let me show you.
The boss fight is absolutely outstanding, between the insane build-up and really fun, fast-paced fight. The build-up for this fight consists of you arriving on a beach where the voice, this purple dude, asks you,
What would you do if you had an eternity to do nothing but wait? Do you keep busy? Do you daydream? Do you freak out? He trained.
This sets the mood immediately. This man has been waiting for this fight for a long time. You don't need to just take the voice's word for it, though. You can see this. As you walk up, you'll see slash marks on the posts and in the sand, as well as on the rocks. And to top it off, you walk through a massive boulder that's been sliced in half. The voice elaborates more, saying,
Nothing else matters to him but this fight with you. This will make his day, his life.
When you finally make it to the fight, the first thing you notice is the Edge is a lot like you. He's the first true swordsman that you fight, and shares a similar stature to you. He tells you he's been waiting a long time to fight you, and he was worried he would never get the chance. Right from the walk-up, all the way to the introduction, the Edge's personality is built up as a guy who's excited to fight you, and not scared of you. This is the first time in the game where a boss wanted to fight you more than just stop you. The fight itself is where this boss really shines. The first thing to notice is this boss doesn't have any ranged phases. This is a melee-only boss, the only one in the game. This immediately puts you into position where you feel there's nowhere to run. Most bosses give you plenty of room to put distance between you and them, but not here. It's just you, him, and a tiny arena. The Edge's main attacks consist of regular sword slashes and large sweeping attacks. The Edge deals a stupid amount of damage. Just a few hits from him can take away lives extremely quickly. This fight forces you to become a master of the parry mechanic. Prior to the Edge, you can get away with not knowing timings and just slashing your way to victory. Not here. That's not an option. You're forced to play slowly and calmly, waiting for him to strike and countering. The Edge likes to mix up his swing timings too, forcing you to play calmly and not jump the gun. The fight grows as the phases progress. This is one of the shortest bosses in the game, with only 4 melee phases, but each phase gives you so much more to learn. Starting right from the second phase, he will change the ending of the sweep to a ground pound that makes a shockwave. After you beat the first 2, the game makes a really shocking twist where the Edge will jump to a thin dock, forcing you to fight there.
You move well. You're reading me quite quickly. Let's see how predictable you think I am now.
Remember when I said there was nowhere to run? Well, that concept is taken to a whole new level. You can no longer go anywhere but at him. He will also change his weapon to instead be using an oar. This changes his attack patterns up, and now he has all new timings and an all new move where he sends a fire wave at you. He will also no longer allow you to interrupt his attacks. He will simply dodge out of the way. You must be able to parry him in order to finish this phase. The fight is finally topped off with his desperation phase. He will no longer get knocked back or stunned and use 3 different moves. One where he shoots a series of fire waves, a 4-hit combo with varying timing, and the longest combo attack in the game, which is 6 hits long and ends with a massive AoE ground pound. Most people I know die the most to this boss fight on their first playthrough, which would normally be extremely frustrating, but this boss fight does a really smart thing to be rid of most of the frustration. Even casually, it's only around a 2 to 3 minute fight, so while you may be dying a lot, you don't feel like you're losing a lot of progress. Another thing that makes this boss outstanding is it gives the player a lot of room for growth. There are many hidden mechanics in this boss, allowing a player to master it. A few such mechanics include using a charge attack to one-shot his first 3 phases, and hitting him in between the strikes of his 6-hit combo or the fire waves. I believe a big part of making a good boss fight is giving the player the ability to get better at it, and the Edge gives you a lot of hidden techniques that are not required to beat him, but that make the fight much more enjoyable for those who want to get better at it. The Edge's character is a large point of what makes this fight good. During the fight, the Edge is both cocky and supportive to you.
Nice. You have more strength than you think. Try and stay with me through this. Come on, get back up. You can't give up now. Come on. Give me something memorable. Something I can learn from that will make me better.
The Edge also has my favorite quote in the whole game.
Excellence is not an art, it's pure habit. We are what we repeatedly do.
I feel this is a quote that transcends the media that it was written in. It's an interesting take on practice makes perfect. To be good at something, you aren't just born with it. You have to repeatedly do it until it becomes second nature. This quote also applies directly to the fight. You are not going to beat it on your first try. It's going to take practice and persistence till you get good at recognizing his attacks and finally bring him down. The Edge is such a nice contrast to the rest of the bosses, who are always angry or bloodlusted. The Edge in comparison is calm and surprisingly kind, which leads to my favorite moment in the fight, the closing cutscene. For just a moment, you see that the Edge realizes this is not some friendly sparring match, and that the man before him isn't here to train him, but rather to kill him, making one final effort to end the fight and save not only his own life, but everyone's. Sadly, this realization came too late to him, and the rider gets the upper hand, ending his life. From a story perspective, the Edge is the final nail in the coffin. After the fight, the voice says,
Oh, incredible! Amazing! What I just saw here? It was magical. And he was probably the toughest one in here. I could never have done this without you.
This is the moment where the voice knew that the fight is over. He knows the truth of the last Guardian, and what he has done is now final. This is the point of no return of the story. The rider will now be freed, and you as a player, with all of that you've been through, should be questioning the true end goal of all of this. It's a heavy moment. He was the last real obstacle, and now the big fight is at an end. Just because I need to low-key humble brag, I was grinding this fight out to get video clips, and I actually managed to beat him in under a minute, so I'm just going to play that fully unedited here real quick.
You move well. You're reading me quite quickly. Let's see how predictable you think I am now. Nice. You have more strength than you think. Try and stay with me through this.
These are just some reasons why I believe the Edge is the most memorable fight in Furi. Whether you disagree with me or agree with me, I just want you to see where I'm coming from. If you think a different boss should have been chosen, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys think. And sorry I don't upload too much. I'm going to try to make this a regularly uploaded series, so I hope you guys like it, and I'll see you in the next one.